that music that you hear there, it's an album from Tom Petty that I haven't really listened to much. I was just gonna see if the lyrics were in there. The song I was just listening to, I don't really know. It's called and you know, Tom and the boys were young here. What year was this? 1982. The song was just, what was it? One Story Town. It's a one-story town. Everything is close to the ground. Same kind of shit going down. Nothing turns around. It's a one-story town. And you know, I moved out of a small town because I had to get out and to explore a bigger city and see what was out there in the world. But there's much of me that does come from the small town, comes from the good roots, the neighbor has your back mentality, so many positives, right? But at the same time, it's that classic question, right? Country or city? That's why the rich people have both. Okay, so what am I doing out here today? This is kind of the afternoon here, late afternoon on a Wednesday, May 17th, I think the date is. And as I had shown earlier, I have these pieces from my nephews that are getting ready to make their way to the East Coast. One in Maine, near Portland, Auburn. Borders a city called Lewiston. They call it Lewiston, Auburn, LA. And the Miramichi, New Brunswick, my hometown, where my man Luke, my younger sister, lives there. My older sister lives in Maine. So all I do is I just got this set up in the vise, and there's just like real kind of soft and shitty, obvious shitty kind of parts in there. And I just kind of have a chisel that has a little rounded edge on it. I find it's big, it's robust, and I use that a lot to begin things with, and just to kind of remove excess you know, chunks of wood and stuff like that. I should have my glasses on right now. I forgot that. And well, those are sunglasses. I should have the other glasses on as I do that. And I just remove excess, you know, excess wood. And that's how I kind of start. I actually like this process. The whole sculpture thing for me is a process. I get to the beach. I take a walk around sometimes. Sometimes I have an idea in my head of a shape I kind of would like to have. I don't know what it looks like because, you know, nature is gifting me it. But oftentimes I'll see a piece just out of, you know, as I'm walking, I'm like, okay, I like the look of that. I don't know what it's for, but I will want to use that into the future. And if you can kind of see back in here, actually, I'm going to just take this phone off. I am going to switch the camera around. How am I going to do that? It's not letting me do that. No. Okay. Okay, I got that figured out. I had to turn it off there. So there's the piece from my nephew Campbell. That's kind of horizontal. It's going to be that way. And you can kind of see there's two C's in there. CC, that's what I call them. And this is what I was just kind of chipping away. You see there's just kind of like soft, you know, chunky stuff. And there's lots of sand that gets into these pieces. I try to clean them out as much as possible. But, you know, my chisels for this, I usually don't have to keep it too sharp. I just want to get down to a point where then I can start getting the grinder on it, the sander, and then sharper chisels and sharper tools and stuff like that. And you know, this one here is not too bad. There's just a couple of areas I'm going to have to work on. That's one of them, which I find is unfortunate because I don't want to wreck that too much because that's going to be kind of my C shape there, but it is what it is. And as you can see, back there, I kind of know what's in there, believe it or not. There's a pile of stuff and just cool starting pieces that I have begun to collect and have collected over the years, and they're drying and ready to go. And then when I'm on a sculpture, I kind of look through my pile and say, okay, I could use this, or no, I got to go to the beach and find some more, and that's when I do. And there's the L for Luke and for Lucky. And I'm just still out here hanging around, kind of going rough form, getting the big chunks of stuff off and then it gives me a place to begin with. So that's how I begin. That's how I begin my sculptures, and that's a part of the process I like to do. There's no thinking. You can kind of come out. It's kind of physical. You get your biceps and stuff like that. This is when I'm doing this style. That's when I feel apt to, kind of do some push-ups and pull-ups and stuff like that, and try to do a little bit of workout. I just feel like it's physical, and I kind of like that. So that's how I begin those. Car just drove by. It's looked like a good group of young people in there, actually. I liked it. It had good vibes. Smiling, they looked very summery. And when I say young, I'm guessing, I don't know, 30s. Okay. So that's what happens when you get to your older 40s, coming on mid-age. You start calling young people in their 30s. Okay. My book. I've read out of this before in my previous sculpture, the trophy sculpture. And today I'm just gonna, I've always been taking notes about Cowlick Combs, about what kind of services I provide. And this was all, I was working on a website, trying to articulate things. I was thinking about it too much, but that's what people told me anyhow. But I always had difficulty with that when, people start telling you how you're supposed to think. Now, I understand business-wise, people got to get stuff done. You got to make a go at it. You got to get yourself out there. And yes, that I agree with, and that I do have to work on. You're never going to be perfect. You got to start somewhere, which is what I've been doing things for a long time, but just by going on YouTube and talking this out has actually helped me. Could be 10 views, could be, like I said, my mom and dad watching it in Miramichi, New Brunswick, my sister in Auburn, Maine, or my nephews and niece, whatever. That's fine. That means I am connecting in a way with, with my family. I was going to say at least my family. That's not what I wanted to say. With my family, and it's been helpful for me to articulate. So I'm just hoping something comes out of this, right? I do good work. I have a certain energy when I show up onto a project. I can really try to get into what the client is looking for, and try to create something for them that's going to have some meaning in their life, or small business or something like that. That's just one aspect of it. So here's some notes I have on I have Cowlick Combs website, sculpture, space, mentoring. I have written down here, do what you do. I think I'm writing notes to myself here. Write what you know. Have an open mind and listen to what others have to say. Okay, I put my wood homepage looks like this, and my card looks like this. Okay, yeah, I made a little homepage out of wood. Maybe I'll show that someday. I wrote down, keeping it into perspective, very difficult in today's climate. We get to the roots. So many angles. I'm really open to working with my clients and clients' families. When we realize that we don't know anything, we kind of know something. These are just notes I have written down here. Yeah, cool. I have space. I put my bread and butter, small business, a new personal feel. The clients involved, getting their hands dirty, helping me out. Or I put down a home project. There's many angles we can take here. we do as a special creative project, building a fence or something like that, a gazebo out in the back. It'll still be, structurally, not too funky or something like that, but I want to put a little bit of flair to things and, have a little bit, a feeling on it. If you're making a gazebo, why not put one of the posts into a shapely log and have some cool shelves built around it, and the ability to hang flowers and something that has some life to it. That's kind of the carpentry and the creative projects that I like to do. And as far as a small business goes, I actually think, I've done it before several times, and I go into somebody's small business and start looking around, and it doesn't have to be too crazy, and nothing has to get ripped down or tore down and stuff like that. I have the ability to kind of start to peel things away, clean things up, use some reclaimed, found materials perhaps, and start to recreate the space in a way that has a different feel to it. I've done like 2 cafes, one in Vancouver, one in Japan. The one in Japan didn't get completed yet. They're still waiting on a moss product that was going to be involved in the walls and stuff like that, and we weren't able to get it, so I was a bit disappointed in that. But yeah, small spaces. Okay, that's what I found in my notes today. That's what I'm going to leave it with. And I'll have something, something else coming into the future out of this book, or I have many notebooks and many notes that I've been thinking about, just reading out of, and trying to share some of my ideas and concepts and how we can do a project together, carpentry related, creative, beautiful, functional. You, the client, get your hands dirty and can help, and it doesn't matter your skill level. And also the Cowlick Combs, I have been very interested, and I have in the mentoring process. Somebody coming in, either going and working on a project with me, and they learn the skills, or they come to my studio, we do a sculpture together, and that sculpture will serve as a gift to someone that is in their family and that deserves a gift from them. Trust me, it's a really beautiful and powerful process, and it's a good way to connect. It's a good way to match your heart with your thinking, and it's a good way for you to do some speaking and connecting with others without having to speak. And giving a gift that you've made is a very powerful process. So I'll leave it at that, as this my neighbor Kim drives by with her 2 little rugrats. They're little cutie pies. You've seen them on the previous sculpture. And I think Kim and those boys are flying back to Edmonton tonight, where they're from. Long weekend. And their dad's already there doing some work and meeting with his family. So I will catch you guys whenever I turn this camera back on. So as I work away at this piece, you see that hole right in there? And again, everything's rough. There's just like little bark in there. I just got a great big screwdriver here. It's a flathead. And oftentimes I'll just stick things like that in there just to start to get sand out and bark and etc., etc. So I just started plugging away and digging away at all these holes and all the crevices and try to get it down. I started, it's almost ready for an angle grinder right there, but you see those little holes? Those are going to come into play. I don't like those, but they are what they are, I guess. But yeah, and I start plugging away, and then when I start getting the angle grinder on it with the sander disc, then it starts to take shape, and and then it's a whole process of sanding. So these things are no easy project, and it does take a lot of time and effort. And I don't know, I just always like that process of just, you know, making something that you find off a beach into a really sleek looking finished sculpture. Somewhere up the road. Yeah, I'm enjoying that Hard Promises album of Tom Petty. I haven't listened to it much. Okay, so I got this kind of flipped the other way. You can see if you go, if that's vertical, if you tilt your head to your left shoulder and look at it, you can see the CCs. So the other trouble area that I have on this piece is in here. And it's kind of, you can see those little holes. I don't know if those are from insects or little rocks or whatever it is. I think it's insects, ants, whatever, that crawl in there. So I've run into that many times, but the shape is too important to me that I work through it. So one of the things I don't want to do on this piece is to jeopardize this shape so much, because that's going to be one of the C's in this piece. So I'm just chiseling away. Hopefully I eliminate most of that trouble area, and then it starts to, those holes start to disappear. So sometimes they go pretty deep and you just can't really do much about it, and then I just fill it with wood filler and whatnot. So yeah, I'm just chiseling away here. How does that look on camera? That's not bad. Okay. So this process, as I said before, it's kind of, I like it. It's like physical. It's you know, there's no real thinking, and then, hey, come on in, ladies and gentlemen. Felix has just got back from school, and he probably wants to hang the mirror up in his gym that he's constructing back there. Yeah, is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was wondering if I hope you did. You're a woodworker.
Sec. Okay. You're not gonna see much of a difference from your eye, I'm assuming, behind that camera, but I did chip out and chisel away a lot of the stuff that had to be done. This piece here is going to be very difficult to get sanded, all those curves and stuff, to get the sander in there, and it's a hardwood, so it's going to be a much more difficult piece to work with. This one here just is going to be easy for the angle grinder. I'm going to be able to get that going. So I got, you know, I'm just playing around. The L is going to look something like, you know, it's going to kind of look like an L. This is going to look like a CC, and I enjoyed my late afternoon / early evening in here. I'm gonna clean up the place, and I'm gonna go and join a couple of friends for a nice, beautiful May warm temperature drink of beer and a conversation about life. Have yourselves a good one.